horrible, ghastly. Rupan, forms like that. Hitva, rejecting. Bhutapatin, demigod. Ata, for this reason. Narayana, the personality of Godhead. Kala, plenary portion. Shanta, all blissful. Bhajanti, do worship. He, certainly. Anasuyavaha, non-envious. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace to the Prabhupada Ki Jai. Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious, and they respect all, yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only the all-blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions. Plenary portions means incarnations of Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, this is purport, Sri Krishna, who is the original person of the Vishnu categories, expands himself in two different categories, namely the integrated plenary portions and separated parts and parcels. That's us. The separated parts and parcels are the servitors, and the integrated plenary portions of Vishnu Tattva are the worshipful objects of service. All the demigods who are empowered by the Supreme Lord are also separated parts and parcels. They do not belong to the categories of Vishnu Tattva. The Vishnu Tattvas are living beings equally as powerful as the original form of the personality of Godhead. And they display different categories of power in consideration of different times and circumstances. The separated parts and parcels are powerful by limitation. They do not have unlimited power like the Vishnu Tattvas. Therefore, one should never classify the Vishnu Tattvas or the plenary portions of Narayana, the personality of Godhead, in the same categories with the parts and parcels. If anyone does so, he becomes at once an offender by the name Pasandi. In the age of Kali, many foolish persons commit such unlawful offenses and equalize the two categories. The separated parts and parcels have different positions in the estimation of material powers, and some of them, like the Kala Bhairava, the Smasana Bhairava, the Sani, Mahakali, and Chantika, these demigods are worshipped mostly by those who are in the lowest categories of the mode of darkness and ignorance. Other demigods like Brahma, Shiva, Surya, Ganesh, and many other deities are worshipped by men in the mode of passion, urged on by the desire for material enjoyment. But those who are actually situated in the mode of goodness, Sattvagun, of material nature, worship only Vishnu Tattvas. Vishnu Tattvas are represented by the various names and forms such as Narayan, Damodar, Vamana, Govinda, and Augusta at Hoxaja. I was in Bhakti Charu's, the temple that they built there, Ujjain. And I was giving class, and a person walked in, and he was blue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he had peacock feather. Oh, okay. And he had yellow garments. And I was thinking, wow, Krishna came to hear my class. The rascal, the guy, he's going around. It was a pretty good imitation, probably better than Poundraka. You know, Poundraka, he had 4 arms. But this, he pretty good. And then the devotees said, hey, this rascal just going. Eventually, they had to kick Krishna out. Couldn't come anymore. Talking nonsense, going around thinking he's Krishna. There's a lot of rascals like that. The qualified Brahmanas worship the Vishnu Tattvas represented by the Salagram Sila, and some of the higher castes, like the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, also generally worship the Vishnu Tattvas. Highly qualified Brahmanas situated in the mode of goodness have no grudges against the mode of worship of others. They have all respect for other demigods, even though they may look ghastly like Kala Bhairava, like the gopis. They worship. Who was the goddess? The gopis worship. Vijaya. But why? So they can have Krishna as their husband. So worship demigods is not bad as long as it's for the right purpose. Like we could pray to, like actually Ganesh. People worship him to get money. Like there's one devotee, he wrote Prabhupada, can I worship Ganesh to get Lakshmi? And he said, yes, but you have to give me $50,000 a month. He gave that up then. He gave that idea up. But we can worship Ganesh because he removes obstacles on our path to bhakti. So that's okay. They know very well that these horrible features of the Supreme Lord are all different servitors of the Lord under different conditions. Yet they reject the worship of both horrible and attractive features of the demigods, and they concentrate only on the forms of Vishnu because they are serious about liberation from the material conditions. The demigods, even to the stage of Brahma, the supreme of all the demigods, cannot offer liberation to anyone. Hiranyakasipu underwent a severe type of penance to become eternal in life, but his worshipful deity, Brahma, could not satisfy him with such blessings. Therefore, Vishnu and no one else is called Muktipada, or the personality of Godhead who can bestow upon us mukti, or liberation. The demigods, being like other living entities in the material world, are all liquidated at the time of the annihilation of the material structure. They are themselves unable to get liberation and want to speak of giving liberation to the devotees. The demigods can award the worshippers some temporary benefit only, and not the ultimate one. It is for this reason only that candidates for liberation deliberately reject the worship of the demigods, although they have no respect, they have no disrespect for any one of them. Om Jnana Tamadandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Mukam Gurudvasalam Bhavim Mangaite Yat Kripanta Ramadeshi Gurundinatam Vanchikapajibhishya Kripa Sindhuye Vichapaditanam Pavani Vaishnavi. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So there's Vishnu Tattvas, and then there's Angsa, and then there's Vibhinangsa. We're the Vibhinangsa. We're the servitors of God. So this is the perfection of our life, is when we can become good, sincere servitors of Krishna. And generally people, they don't want to be the servant. Everyone wants to be the boss. Nobody wants to be the servant. But actually, to be a servant of Krishna is wonderful. And to be a boss in the material world, it's like there's a saying that it's lonely on the top. Like the big boss, he's up there by himself, and he gets lonely up there. And he's telling people what to do, and you got to be aggressive. It's, I would never want to be a boss. But we're meant to be the servants of Krishna. And this is much nicer, because as a servant to Krishna, we develop humility, service attitude towards Krishna. And there's a nice verse in the 11th canto, that we have the Bhagavad Gita, and there's also the Uddhava Gita, 11th canto. Beautiful. The continuation of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Akinchanasya dantasya santasya samachetasa maya santu manasa sarva sukha maya dasha. That one who is free of material desires. What is a material desire? A material desire is something that we want for our mind and senses. This is a material desire. And what's a spiritual desire? Spiritual desire, we want to please Krishna. Yeah. We want to please Krishna. This is spiritual desire. And it's described that there's 5 primary ways to please Krishna. Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan Bhagavat Shravana Maturava Srimadhara Shadhaya Seva. First of all, we have to associate with devotees. Because by association with the devotees, we learn what is pleasing to Krishna. Of course, also by reading Shastra, Guru Shastra and Sadhu, we learn what is pleasing to Krishna, what Krishna wants. We learn what Krishna wants. It's like Prabhupada said, if you want to please me, distribute books. So Krishna, and Prabhupada knows this is what pleases Krishna the most. And he says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yaidang paramam guyam mad bhakti savadhasisi bhakti mayam karam krityam mamivaisaya samsaya. That anybody who is preaching this message of Bhagavad Gita is most dear to me, and there'll never be anyone more dear to me. Mm-hmm. So he clearly says what he wants and what pleases him. He also says, Patram pusam pulam toyam yome bhakta prayas taraham bhakti prayasmam asnami prayatatmana. That if one offers to me with love, devotion, a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I'll accept it. Yet karoshi, yet asnasi. He says, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities you do, should be done as an offering to me. So that's a pretty good bunch right there. All that you do, everything you do it for Krishna. Everything that we eat, first we offer it to Krishna. One devotee, one sannyasi said, we should make it as an offering to Krishna, not that we're offering it to Krishna so that we can eat. He said, just like on a conveyor belt, you have the conveyor belt and you have the picture of Krishna, the conveyor belt goes by. It's being offered to Krishna at the end of the conveyor belt, But it should actually be with devotion to Krishna. So a kinchanasya, now that to get free of material desire, that's not an easy thing, because we've had material desires for too long, right? And here we are trying to fulfill our material desires, but it's not possible. We'll never be satisfied by any material arrangement. But by a spiritual arrangement, we can be satisfied. And therefore Prabhupada has set up this society in such a nice way. We have Mangalartik in the morning, we have Guru Puja, we have Srimad Bhagavatam class, we have Seva. Throughout the day we do service. And we have our 16 rounds. So in this way we're able to get purified of our material desires. So Akinchanasya dantasya. Dantasya means that the senses are controlled. We have to engage our senses in the service of Krishna. Vacho vegam, manasakroda vegam, jiva vegam, udapastavam, etan vegam, yoga sehidya. Sarvam Prataving. That one who is able to control the urge to speak. It's like we could speak for Krishna, or we could speak all nonsense, Prajalpa. There's a lot of Prajalpa going on in the world. But we're trying to engage in Krishna conscious activities. There's Prajalpa and there's Krishna Katha. So Krishna Katha, it lifts us, helps us to grow in spiritual life. And Prajalpa, it brings us down. So we want to rise to the lotus feet of Krishna. So Akinchinasya Dantasya Vacho Vegam Manasakroda, one who's able to control the urge to speak. So actually the tongue has two functions. We like to taste and speak. Unfortunately, there's a lot of nonsense talk. It's like that Prabhupada was in India and devotees found out about one person. He's taken a vow of monam. Mm-hmm. He hadn't spoken for 25 years. And Prabhupada said, this is very good because when they speak all nonsense. All these Mayavadis, they should take the vow of monam because they just make a disturbance. But devotees, they're also taking a vow of monam. When you just speak about Krishna, that's also considered to be monam. So, Prabhupada said that I learned how to speak nicely because I heard nicely. So we have to hear nicely. If we hear nicely, then we could also speak nicely. So therefore hearing is most important. Just like we have our senses, but there's one sense when we're sleeping doesn't go to sleep. I mean, I really feel that. Unfortunately. This sense never goes to sleep. I wish you could go to sleep. Like there's one instance where there was a very wealthy man. He was in San Diego. He had a big house, and he heard his alarm go off. But his alarm was Prabhupada. Sometimes you could set your alarm so there's different transcendental. So Prabhupada chanting Jaya Radha Madhava. So it went off, and he's thinking, why? Why is it going off? Because he didn't set the alarm. It was about 12 o'clock. And then he found out the house was on fire. So he got his, whatever he could pick up, valuables, and he left, and the house burned to the ground. Prabhupada saved him. He didn't set the alarm. Krishna's mystical ability set the alarm, saved his life. So, saved his life. He was able to hear. Krishna saved his life because Krishna set the alarm to save him. So hearing is very important. Therefore it's stated, Shrimvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantastav Yavadrani Virinoti Suhritsatam. That Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, the super soul in the hearts of all living entities, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire from material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who simply relishes his messages, which are in themselves virtuous and properly heard and chanted. So just see how kind Krishna is. All we have to do is hear what Krishna is speaking and appreciate what he's speaking, and he cleanses the heart. He cleanses the mind. Just appreciate, relish what Krishna is speaking. And Krishna appreciates that. And he cleanses the heart, cleanses the mind. Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan. And Nam Kirtan, hearing the holy name of Krishna, we have to hear attentively, just like we have our japa. This is one of the offenses, is not hearing attentively. It's one of the offenses to chanting the holy name. So it's difficult to hear attentively. I'll tell you one thing that Bhakti Tirtha Swami, you've heard this so many times. It's good to hear again. Bhakti Tirtha Swami. When he would chant japa and he was inattentive, he would back up one or two beats just to check the mind. Because the mind just goes here and then it goes over there and then it goes over there and and it's just like all over the place, all over the universe. So just to check the mind, you would stop, back up, and go forward. I mentioned this to one devotee. He said, if I did that, it would take me all day to chant my japa. But I thought that's a good thing. So I've been doing it actually for many, many years. Whenever I'm chanting and I'm inattentive, just stop, back up one or two beats and go forward again. Because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said the mind is a non-devotee. This is why it's so hard. Also to read, it's hard to read. You read a whole page and nothing went in. The mind is off somewhere else. It doesn't want to hear it. The mind doesn't want to hear it. Come on, let's do something. Let's think of something else, something a little more exciting. The rascal mind. So we got to kind of like preach to the mind. I know you don't want to hear, but listen, this is the new program. If you're not attentive, we're going to chant more. All right. So, yeah, we have to hear nicely. And Krishna, he knows if we're hearing nicely. Right? He knows if we're spacing out. If we're spacing out, then, Krishna doesn't make himself available. If we're off, bozo lands, and Krishna also, he doesn't reciprocate. So he reciprocates as we surrender to him, right? And being attentive is a very nice way to surrender. So this is also this very nice verse. Vacho Vegam, one who is able to control the urge to speak, the mind's demand, the tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So you have to control the tongue, eat only Krishna Prasad, and speak about Krishna. And this will help us in this divine journey. And this will help us become free of material desires, help us to control our senses, engage our senses in the service of the master of the senses. Atashi Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Gayaminder Sevan Mukhi Jiva Now Swayam Eva Spratita. That one cannot understand Krishna with our blunt material senses, but when Krishna becomes pleased with us by our service, then he reveals himself. He becomes pleased by our devotional attitude. So, Kenshinasya Dantasya Santasya. And if we're acting in this way, then we become shanta, we become peaceful. If we hear nicely about Krishna, we engage in devotional service, we become peaceful. And what is the peace formula? Bhaktaram Yagatapasang Sarvaloka Maheswaram Suram Sarvabhutanam Gatam Shantim Rishati. This is the peace formula, that we have to engage in service with Krishna as the enjoyer, not ourselves as the enjoyer, but Krishna, he's the enjoyer. We're doing everything that we're doing, we're trying to do it for Krishna. And Prabhupada said this one verse, Yet Kroshi Yet Asnasi, Yet Jahosti Dinasti, Yet Pashashi Konti, Yet Tatkur Samanarpa. He says this is the summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita, this one verse, where he says, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities you perform, should be done as an offering to me. This is the summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So we're doing so many things, somehow we have to do it for Krishna. Of course, you're working, so it's hard to do it. Of course, you give donations, so that's a way. Actually, Prabhupada said, Prabhupada Prabhupada was pretty, he said 50% of our earnings should be given as charity. Now that's not easy. I only know a couple of devotees, they're doctors, they're making a lot, so it's a little easier for them. But Prabhupada said that's, now in the Christians, I think they have 10%, a little easier. But
Muslims also give
10%?
something, yeah.
Something. So, yeah, that's a pretty high standard. 50%. Not many can do it. Just to survive, just to make the ends meet is difficult. So Kinchinashidantasya Santasya Samachetasa, and equal towards everyone. Equal towards everyone. And this is Krishna. Samoham sarvabhutam namedve sosuna ye bhajanti tamam bhatyamai tesachapya. Krishna says, I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but one who renders service to me is dear to me. So now one might say, well, but you're favored toward your devotees. Yeah. He says, I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. But it seems like he's partial to his devotees. And Prabhupada explains in the purport there that just like if a man finds out that his son is at school and there's a fire at the school, then immediately he goes to the school, and what is he looking for immediately? His son. And no one's going to criticize, hey, what is this? So many kids are, in danger, you're just looking for your own son. No one's going to criticize because that's where there's most affection. Then when he, gets his son, then he'll start helping others, but the focus is getting his son. So similarly, Krishna, he wants to help everyone, but his devotees, they're giving their life to him. So they're his dear sons and daughters, so therefore there's special attention for the devotees. So kinchinasya dantasya santasya samacheta maya santusta manasa, and who is satisfied in Krishna consciousness. So we should be satisfied in Krishna consciousness. And sometimes devotees aren't so satisfied. And I've seen sometimes devotees, they go to the movies, to watch movies. It was all nonsense. What is the people go to the movies and they just watch this, it's just all garbage, because these people, these movie producers, what do they have? What is their desire? Their desire is to make a lot of money. Yeah, and to make a #1 movie, get some names, some fame. They don't have our best interest at heart. They have money at heart. That's all. And there's so much nonsense, violence and sex and just garbage. And then this goes into our subconscious. All these visual things, and and sometimes you remember them 30 years later. This stupid movie. It's stuck in our mind. It's just garbage. And people, actually, the worst thing that ever happened to India was movies and television. Yeah. Like Radhanath Swami said that what the Mughals could not do in 800 years, what the British could not do in 200 years, television and movies has done in 30 years. Practically destroyed the culture. Just so much nonsense. Of course, that sprung out of America, with Hollywood and all the nonsense coming out of America. When I was growing up, there was only 2 TV channels on the television. Now there's hundreds.
Thousands.
Huh? Unlimited. And they just go from one channel to another. They get tired of that. Like they have these people with their phones also. What do they call that?
Doom scrolling.
No, they're looking through. What do they call it? I forgot what it's called. Anyway, there's so much distraction. It's like we've been bombarded by mass weapons of distraction. Worse than the weapons, practically. So much distraction. All this nonsense. So we should be satisfied. We have nice books. We have nice, nice philosophy, nice association, nice prasadam.
Yes.
So we should be satisfied in Krishna consciousness. There's one pastime of Prabhupada back in about 1935 or maybe 1940, something like that. One friend of his, he was going to the movies. And he told Prabhupada, hey, come, I'm going to the movies, come, let's go. And Prabhupada said, no, I'm not interested. And they're kind of friendly and, no, come on, so he stopped his car and he kind of practically pushed Prabhupada into the car. Yeah. Come on, let's go to the movies, let's have a good time, go to the movies. So he's kind of forced into the car. And when they got to the movies, his friend went to the movies, but Prabhupada said, I'm not going. He said, even if you give me $1,000, I'm not going to go and watch the movies. Now, $1,000 back in the 40s. He said dollars, not rupees. That's a lot of money back then. Even if you give me $1,000, I'm not going to the movies. Because it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. Useless. Just degrades the consciousness. Yeah. Just degrades the consciousness. There's no upliftment. And even the news, people they watch the news, the morning news and the evening news. It's all bad news. It's all Trump, It's all bad news, No good news. No one's inspired, Oh yeah, that news was so good. I feel inspired now. It's like completely useless, It's all bad news. In Brazil, they used to have this radio station. It's called the Good News Channel, and it was just good news. But they had to stop after 6 months because they ran out of good news. But you don't run out of bad news. There's always bad news. And then people, they get inspired, materialistic people. At least it's, they hear some bad news. Well, at least it's, I'm not that bad. I'm not feeling that bad. So it makes them feel a little, could be worse, So we have such good news. Just like every morning we have the Srimad Bhagavatam class. It's the good news. It's all good news. Bhagavad Gita is good news. Prabhupada came to give us good news, just good news, to get us out of this bad world, this terrible materialistic world. Prabhupada was walking one time with some devotees, and there was a trash can. He said, put trash here. And Prabhupada said, then you got to put the whole material world in there. Material world is just trash. Forgetfulness of Krishna. Garbage, so much garbage. Just like you go to these super Walmarts, right? Huge Walmart. 99% of the stuff we don't need. I mean, we didn't have Walmart, 300 years ago, but people are getting by, right? Now we got all this stuff, and it's useless. Useless, so much useless stuff, no need. But it's a consumer society, especially America, a consumer society. They say that when the environment is up, when the economy is up, when it's up, when there's more trash outside. Because if the economy is up, you buy more stuff and you throw away more stuff. Yeah. So that's how they know if the economy is up. More trash. If the economy is down, there's not much trash because you're not buying stuff. You're not buying much stuff. Right? So kinchina siddhantasya santasya samachesa maya santusmana sarva sukha. So if one is free of material desires, controls the senses, is peaceful, is equal towards everyone, is satisfied in Krishna consciousness, then wherever such a person goes, he only finds happiness. You know that verse? Only finds happiness. And where everybody's looking for happiness, so this is the formula for happiness. And there's a formula for attaining love for God also. Prabhupada, he used to work as a pharmacist in Allahabad, Prayag. And he had one person who would go there, and they became friendly. So this person it was a customer. He could see that Prabhupada, he's actually a very devoted. He said, "Can you give me the tonic by which I can get the love for God that you have?" He said, "No, but I do have the formula. The formula is Tunada Pisinichina, Tarora Pisahisana, Amanina, Maridina, Kirtaniya, Sadahari." This is the formula. Think oneself Lord in the straw on the street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others without desiring respect for oneself. That's the formula. And therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj says that this verse should be worn around one's neck, strung by the holy name. There's one devotee, she had the holy name tattooed around her neck in Bengali. She took it literally. I don't know if that actually helped, but but it has to go to the heart, not tattooed on the neck. It's got to go to the heart. But that's not easy. Think oneself Lord in the straw on the street. Generally, because we have this ego, we think ourselves, pretty good. Numero uno. Number one, right? Think ourselves Lord in the straw, more tolerant than a tree. Trees are quite tolerant. It's cold out now, and sometimes people come by and they carve their initials on the tree. So I told there was one sannyasi, he was speaking about this verse and about tolerance of the tree, and I asked a question. I said, well, the tree can't talk, so how is it really tolerant? If it could speak, it might complain. Hey, don't carve your initials on me, buddy. How would you like me to carve my initials on you? If he could speak, he might complain, but he can't speak. So is that real tolerance? He just can't complain. He has that body, but he can't complain. So the sannyasi gave a very nice answer. He said, therefore, a devotee is more tolerant than a tree because he can complain. He could protest, but he doesn't. Therefore, more tolerant than a tree. Nice answer.
Yes.
So more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, devoid of false prestige. In other words, the devotee doesn't think that when he's doing things, it's his ability. Narada Muni says, devotees of the Lord do not think that the services they do are actions under their own control, but they are expressions of Krishna's supreme mercy. Mahadbir bhakti nishtaisa nasvarideti manyate. This is how a devotee thinks. He doesn't think that the abilities that he has, the things he does, is under his control, but they are expressions of Krishna's supreme mercy. Krishna allows us to do things. Otherwise, we could lose ability to do so many things that we're doing. Just like Muhammad Ali, he made that famous statement, "I am the greatest. I am the greatest." But then he had this disease where he could barely. I saw him actually. He could barely even walk. He's like, anybody could have come up and beat him up because he lost his. He could barely walk. He's like, what is that? I forgot the name of the disease he had. Parkinson's disease. Yeah. So Krishna took it away. He was so proud, but now he could barely walk. Parkinson's disease. So we had to become free of false ego. There's the real ego. Ego just means identity. Our real ego is that we're servants of Krishna. And whatever we're able to do in the service of Krishna is given to us by Krishna. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities which are in actuality carried out by nature, which is controlled by Krishna. Yeah. So this is the formula for attaining love for Krishna. Lower than strong street, more talented than a tree, devoid of all sense of false proceeds, ready to offer all respects to others without desiring respect for oneself. Generally, we like to be respected. And respecting others, not so important. But fortunately, because we've come to Krishna consciousness, we're learning another culture. Prabhupada says in one purport that this practice of Krishna consciousness is the mental culture, of Krishna consciousness. We're changing our consciousness. Before we were very materialistic and we wanted to get respect so much. Now we want to respect others. And we're not so enthused, we don't want to get respect. Because from this comes pride. Right? The devotee doesn't want to be respected, but wants Krishna to be respected. Like Prabhupada is such a saintly person. Just page after page after page, thousands of pages, Prabhupada's glorifying Krishna. Prabhupada's glorifying Krishna. So much love. So this is Prabhupada. And by reading Prabhupada's books, his mood will rub off onto us also. Yeah. By hearing the words of the pure devotee, that consciousness which is there will also rub onto us. He said his purports are his devotional ecstasies. So we're connecting with his devotional ecstasies by hearing. So maybe we'll stop there. Any question or comment?
So these qualities are very difficult. Kinchana Siddhanta Shantasya Samchitasa.
Oh yeah.
How can one be satisfied, especially when there is disappointment? It could be at book distribution, or it could be in devotional service, in terms of controlling the senses, eating, sleeping. The body doesn't cooperate.
Yeah.
So one feels dissatisfied. How can we be more regulated, and how we can increase it? I feel that many times I'm irregular with my eating and sleeping, so then I don't feel enthusiasm to wake up and to chant. I do it out of regulation, but I don't have the same vigor, same intensity while chanting. It doesn't. I feel inattentive while chanting.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Well, we're conditioned souls, you might have noticed. Yeah, we're conditioned souls. So we just have to continue on. And by this practice, then we get a taste, we get the higher taste. Yeah. But we have to be enthusiastic, patient, utsaha, enthusiastic, patient, and confident that we'll get the result that we're aspiring for. And we're seeing nice examples. By Sesika Maharaj and so many nice devotees here in ISKCON and Silicon Valley, and devotees all over the world that are getting a nice result. And also, you could look at yourself. You know, how 10 years ago, you've been devoted 10 years. How many? 14. So you must have seen some change, right? You've seen some improvement. Yeah, we see there's some improvement. A lot of improvement in myself, even though I'm still so fallen. But I feel, I see the result. Yeah. And we're always trying to get better also, isn't it? We're always trying to get, we make a mistake, just like Prabhu was saying, that, you make a mistake and then you try to improve. Yeah. Krishna's, he shows us that, still got a ways to go. And he makes it clear. That's the nice thing about book distribution, is that we have, there's these, we have these attractions to the material world, but they're right there in the front of our face. It's like Prabhupada said, that there's two things that go more in the heart more than anything else. It's a attachment to the results and sex desire. But we're dealing with this every day on book distribution. Attachment to the results and sex desire. So, we have to learn how to become detached from so many things in this world. And we're feeling the result. And as we continue on and on and on, get better and better. Practice makes perfect. By constant practice and by detachment. Like Arjuna said, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pamati malabhadritam tasyaham degram vaire vichatuskam. I feel it's like impossible. The mind it's flickering. It's Chanchalam hi mana pamati. It's mad. Balabhad, it's strong. It's determined. And to control is more difficult than to control the wind. Krishna said, Sangsyam Mahabho Mano Durnigraham Abhyasina Takontya Vairagrena Chigriyate. He said it's undoubtedly very difficult to control the mind, but possible by practice and detachment. Practice makes perfect. And detachment. You got to become detached from the body. Detached from the results, and you got to detach from so much nonsense. Bodily relations, also so many things we have to detach. But at the same time, we want to become attached to Krishna, to the process, to the devotees. You're welcome. Any questions from our internet friends? Is the volume up? Yeah. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai. Excuse Vijaya Prabhu ki Jai. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.